Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a big breath and jumping right into October 2025. We're focusing specifically on you, our reliable Taurus and Taurus rising listeners, this month. It's pretty crucial.
It really is. If the past few months felt like, juggling chainsaws with work changes and relationship deep dives,
Yeah.
well, October is where it all kind of comes together. It's got that sweet and salty mix we talked about.
Exactly. And our mission today is to unpack that mix. We need to look at commitment, how it shows up at work,
Yeah.
but also in your health, your routines, and really importantly, in your closest partnerships. We'll hit the major shifts, the key dates you need to circle.
Okay, so first let's find you in the chart. And for Taurus, that always starts with your ruling planet Venus. Beginning of October, Venus is hanging out in your fifth house. That's all about creativity, romance, joy, kids, that good stuff.
And it's in Virgo, right? Which feels pretty good for Taurus, fellow Earth sign. So it's like taking that Taurian love of beauty and making it practical, like expressing love in a tangible way, or really refining an artistic skill.
Precisely. And technically, it's trining your Taurus placements, which means it's a smooth, easy energy flow. So before things get too hectic, you've got this nice, stable base. Enjoy hobbies, catch a show, express affection in ways that feel solid. Use this bit of peace early on.
Okay, good advice. Because yeah, that peace doesn't seem to last long. October 1st hits, and bam, mental pressure. What's up with that Mercury square?
Right, so Mercury is finishing up its time in your sixth house, think daily tasks, health, work routines, but it immediately clashes, makes a square aspect with Jupiter over in your third house, communication, learning, short trips.
Okay, so it's like the emails, the appointments, the endless to-do list from the sixth house suddenly feels crushed by these massive ideas from the third, like wanting to start a huge project or plan a big trip, but you're stuck in the weeds.
That's exactly the tension. Mental overload is the phrase. You feel scattered because your day-to-day brain is trying to handle these huge, expansive Jupiterian concepts. Seriously, watch out for burnout right at the start.
Okay, practical advice then. Prioritize the small stuff first. Get really clear with emails and messages.
Yes, absolutely. Clear, concise messages are key. And if you feel that urge to rush through things like errands or even an important chat, just slow down. That square magnifies everything, so simple slip-ups become more likely.
Got it. Slow and steady. Then, just a few days later, October 4th, you mentioned something challenging. Venus conjunct the South Node.
Yeah, this one's necessary but tricky. Venus, your ruler, planet of love, value, beauty, meets the South Node in that fifth house of joy and romance. The South Node is about release, about the past.
So what does that look like? An old flame pops up.
Could be. Or an old romantic situation, maybe a hobby you dropped years ago suddenly calls to you. Sometimes it's about reconnecting with your inner child, an old creative spark. But underneath it all, it's about cleansing.
Like clearing out old ways of finding joy that don't fit anymore. Or maybe letting go of baggage from past relationships.
Exactly. Or even, say, a habit you used for fun that's not actually healthy anymore. Maybe it's late nights. Maybe it's that extra drink too often. This aspect gives you the energetic push to let that go and choose something more authentic, maybe healthier.
Okay, so a necessary release. But that prep period ends sharply on the 6th, you said.
Yeah, October 6th is a big pivot point. Mercury moves out of your daily grind sixth house and dives into Scorpio, which is your seventh house, your opposite sign, relationships, partnerships, contracts.
Whoa, okay, so the focus flips completely outwards?
Yeah.
It's not just about your stuff anymore. It's about the other person, partners, clients, maybe even your therapist, balancing your needs and their needs.
Bingo. And Mercury in Scorpio doesn't do surface level. It wants deep, probing honesty, fantastic for breakthroughs in relationships because you have to get real. But that intensity creates friction almost immediately.
How so?
Because the same day, October 6th, that Mercury in your relationship house squares Pluto. And Pluto is way up in your 10th house of career and public reputation. Talk about a squeeze play.
Oof. Work versus relationship drama right out of the gate. Like intense talks with your partner about your work schedule. Or maybe a demanding client forces a tough choice about your professional direction.
Precisely. The dilemma is immediate. How do you balance the demands of your career transformation with the needs of your key relationships? Expect intense conversations. Boundaries, work-life balance, it's all on the table, non-negotiable.
Wow, okay. That intense vibe sets the stage perfectly for the full moon. Also on the 6th, in Aries, in the 12th house.
Yeah, the 12th house. That's the hidden realm. Subconscious, spirituality, self-undoing patterns, isolation, blind spots.
Well,
This full moon isn't just random, it's like the culmination point for things that started back with the solar eclipse in spring 2025.
right. And a lot of Tauruses have been feeling that pressure, haven't they? With Saturn and Neptune floating through the 12th. It can feel kind of lonely or like you have to withdraw.
Exactly. So this full moon shines a big light on the need for quiet time. For private reflection, maybe a solo spiritual practice, or just being alone to recharge your batteries.
But here's the kicker. Where's Mars, the ruler of this Aries full moon?
Mars is sitting right there in your seventh house of partnerships. So whatever you've been sweeping under the rug, uncomfortable topics, unspoken feelings, that conversation you keep dodging, it's likely to come out probably through an interaction with your partner or a key person.
So it sounds like a revelation, maybe more than a meltdown. Like you finally see how to handle that sensitive thing or realize you need that private time to actually be a better partner.
That's a great way to put it. A breakthrough, an epiphany about dealing with the hidden stuff through your relationships.
Okay, moving on. October 11th, Venus versus the community. What's this opposition about?
Yeah, Venus in your fifth, your joy, creativity, kids, romance is directly opposite Saturn in your 11th house. The 11th is friends, groups, your audience, your social network.
So this is when you're pouring your heart into something you love.
Oh.
A project, a hobby, maybe even your kids. And your friends or your community just don't get it. Or they aren't giving you the support or feedback you expected.
Exactly. It can feel really unsupported. Like, why doesn't anyone appreciate this thing I love? But the opposition isn't just mean. Saturn brings lessons. It challenges your fun with responsibility, with limitations. The key is using that feeling of limitation to build something solid. Don't ditch your passion just because others aren't cheering. Use Saturn's discipline to give it long-term structure.
Okay, turn frustration into structure.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, finally, some sweetness. October 13th, Venus moves.
Yes, a really nice shift. Venus slides into Libra, which is its home turf, and into your sixth house. That's work, health, daily routines.
Oh, lovely. So the focus shifts to making daily life more harmonious, bringing some beauty into the office, maybe smoothing over work relationships.
Or getting serious about health in a pleasant way, new gym, doctor checkup, maybe even adopting a pet, all of the above. Venus in Libra loves beauty and balance in the everyday. And Libra is about partnership, remember. So this isn't necessarily about solo grinding. You might want to find a workout buddy or team up with a coworker to improve the office space. Companionship is key here.
Nice. And does Venus get any help there?
Oh yeah, great support. It trines Uranus, which can bring sudden positive changes to your diet or maybe unexpected money related to your job. And it also trines Pluto up in your career house. This gives real power and commitment to organizing things, making sure those big professional changes have solid, practical backing.
Speaking of those massive career changes, the 13th is also when Pluto stations direct, right, in the 10th house. That sounds huge.
It is huge, especially if you have planets or points around 0 to 3 degrees of Taurus. You've been feeling Pluto's deep dive intensely. Pluto stationing direct means that powerful, sometimes ruthless transformation process in your career and public image kicks back into high gear. No more retrograding slowdown.
And this isn't just like getting a new job title. This is Pluto. It's about purging old ambitions, burning down career structures that aren't authentic anymore. Big status shifts, right? How the world sees you. And probably tied to those business partners or even marriage.
Absolutely. How you present yourself professionally is undergoing a root level change. It's tied to contracts, partnerships, commitments.
Okay, embracing the power,
Yeah.
but watch out for burnout again. October 16th, Sun square Jupiter.
Yeah, it's like a louder echo of that Mercury square from the first. The sun, your vitality, is now in that sixth house of work routines, and it's squaring Jupiter in the third, communication and ideas.
So even more mental overload, like amplifying work and the communication buzz. That feeling of too many texts, too much news, too much scrolling, just too much work, where the routine itself feels overwhelming.
You nailed it. The routine threatens to just completely swamp your mental space. The antidote? Balance. Use that nice Venus and Libra energy you just set up. Step away from the screen. Go for that walk. Do some breathing exercises. Moderate enthusiasm is the goal. Don't let the routine become the master.
Right. Moderate enthusiasm, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting towards the later month, relationships are really heating up around the 20th.
Definitely. October 20th, Mercury meets Mars in Scorpio, right in your seventh house of partnerships. And heads up, this is the pre-shadow zone for the upcoming Mercury retrograde.
Pre-shadow. Meaning we're getting a preview of the communication snags and topics that are going to come back around later for review.
Exactly. You'll feel the friction now. This meetup can bring confrontational energy, maybe even arguments in relationships, but it's forcing things out into the open that need airing.
And since Mercury rules your money house,
Yeah.
second, and your kid's creativity house, fifth, these intense talks are likely about what? Joint finances, spending on kids, creative projects.
All of that, how you share money, expenses related to children, your relationship status itself, how joint resources are used for creative pursuits. It's all fair game. The energy is pushy, but the goal is really a necessary review. Channeling that friction into creating something together, more passion maybe, or tackling a joint project. But yeah, watch for old partners or old arguments resurfacing for a final look.
Intense. But then the very next day, the 21st, we get a new moon in Libra. A fresh start in that same sixth house of routines.
Yes, perfect timing. After the intensity, a chance to plant new seeds for better work habits, healthier routines. This new moon is basically shouting, get help. If your routine is overwhelming, hire someone. Find a new doctor or specialist. Get support to update your look or workflow.
And you said it squares Pluto in the career house. So getting help with the small stuff actually boosts your power at work.
That's the link. Investing in support systems directly feeds into your increasing status and professional power. Don't try to do it all alone.
Okay, good advice. And a little boundary check on the 22nd. Neptune back into Pisces.
Yeah, Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces, joining Saturn in your 11th house, friends, groups, community. So now you have the disciplinarian, Saturn, and the dreamer, Neptune, both hanging out in your social sector.
What does that do? Make group projects weird.
It can enhance idealistic visions for groups, maybe bring back old friends, definitely deepens compassion in your social circles. You might feel drawn to more artistic, spiritual, or bohemian groups, like meditation circles or something. But the risk is fuzzy boundaries. Neptune dissolves things. You need to be really clear about your own goals and limits within friendships or groups because, as the notes say, some friends might seem a little cuckoo bananas. Clarity is key.
Huh. Okay, noted on the cuckoo bananas, friends. Also on the 22nd, main event, Scorpio season begins, Sun into the 7th.
Yes. Sun joins Mercury and Mars all in Scorpio, all in your 7th house of partnerships. This basically cements relationships as the focus for the rest of October. It brings revitalizing, regenerative energy to those one-on-one connections.
But there's still that tension, right? Sun squaring Pluto.
Always an underlying tension with Pluto this year. The Sun lighting up your partnership house while squaring Pluto in your career house really highlights how your partner or main client or spouse is coping or not coping with the massive changes you're making professionally. Their reaction, their support, or lack thereof becomes really obvious.
Okay, deep relationship focus. And then we wrap the month with finances, starting October 29th.
Yep. A deep dive into potentially volatile financial stuff. Mercury moves into Sagittarius and your 8th house. The 8th house rules joint finances, debts, taxes, inheritances, intimacy, psychological stuff, money that's owed to you or that you owe.
Again, and Mercury connects to your personal money, second, and kids' love, fifth. So this transit is about settling debts, negotiating shared assets, getting paid, maybe even deep talks about intimacy and shared resources, or budgeting for kids, or dealing with insurance.
Exactly. Think negotiations, settlements, payouts, deep financial talks are likely. Could involve pregnancy-related finances, budgeting, insurance claims, wills, taxes.
And you said volatile. Why volatile?
Because on that same day, the 29th, Mercury immediately opposes Uranus, which is sitting right in Taurus in your 1st house of self. Boom. Sudden, maybe shocking news about investments, joint assets, debts. Something could shift your financial picture dramatically, demanding quick thinking.
Yikes. Okay, so don't panic, but be ready to pivot. Be innovative.
Maybe uncovering hidden waste, or getting a surprise tax bill, or sudden news about a settlement. Yes, innovation is key. You might find money you didn't know you had or debt you forgot about. Could be sudden shifts related to those career changes too, adjusting your fees, a company buyout, drastic work structure changes impacting shared finances. Stay adaptable. It really demands balance, that whole sweet and salty thing. It's about embracing commitment in your daily health routines, that 6th house stuff, and bringing fierce honesty to your relationships, the 7th house focus. Doing that work actually fuels the huge professional and financial shifts happening via the 10th and 8th houses.
Okay, let's do a quick snapshot. Best days, worst days.
Sure, opportunity days where things flow a bit easier. Look at the 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 14th, 19th, 21st, and the 31st.
Good days for love and connection.
Definitely the 4th, the 13th, and 14th, thanks to Venus, the 19th and 20th with that Mercury-Mars heat, and then that intense end of month, 29th through 31st, can be passionate if handled right.
Money days, negotiations.
Look at the 10th and 11th.
And the challenging days. Need extra caffeine or self-care?
Yeah. Watch out for the second. Definitely the 9th through 11th cluster. The 13th with Pluto stationing is powerful but potentially heavy, and the 25th could bring some tension.
So thinking about that intense 7th house focus on partners, plus the 12th house stuff about secrets and the subconscious, feels like the real work isn't just what you do this month, like tasks or projects. It's more about who you choose to be with and what truths you finally face privately.
That's a fantastic insight. It really is a month of mandatory conversations. The energy demands it. So the question to leave you with, Taurus, is this. What's the one sensitive conversation about work, money, the future, intimacy that you've been avoiding with your closest partner? October is pushing you to finally have it. That's where your next transformation lies.